Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so pleased to join you today as part of your online learning journey with Europe Hotel School. You know, in the world of hospitality, we spend so much time talking about contracts, rates, and amenities. But today, we're going to dive into the most critical skill in any negotiation, one that's often invisible: emotional intelligence. Mastering this doesn't just help you close deals, it's what builds entire careers. Let's get into it.
I want you to picture this for a second. You're in the final stages of a really big negotiation. We're talking significant financial commitments, complex operational details, and yeah, your hotel's reputation is hanging right there in the balance. You can feel the pressure in the room. Because when the stakes are that high, it's no surprise that conversations can trigger some pretty strong emotions. And that goes for both sides of the table. A simple discussion about terms can get challenging fast. And how you navigate that emotional current, that can literally make or break the entire agreement.
So, why do these negotiations get so charged in the first place? Well, it's because we're not just moving numbers around on a page, are we? We're dealing with huge responsibilities: financial, operational, and reputational. It basically creates this pressure cooker environment where your professionalism is constantly being put to the test. Just think about all the different pressures that are in that room. Your client? They might be getting absolutely grilled by their finance department about the budget. An event planner could have their entire professional reputation riding on this one event. And at the same time, you're trying to juggle your own sales goals and what your operations team can actually deliver. It's really a perfect storm for emotional friction. And this is exactly where emotional intelligence, or EI, becomes your most valuable tool. Honestly, it's like a superpower. It's the ability to stay in control of the situation when things start getting heated. And it always starts with you. By managing your own reactions first, you give yourself the power to guide the entire conversation toward a much better outcome.
Okay, so the very first step in this whole process is always internal. The real foundation of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. Plain and simple. Before you can even begin to read the room, you have to be able to read yourself.
Look, we all walk into a negotiation with our own sensitivities, our own little triggers. Maybe a client makes a comment about your pricing, and it just feels like a personal jab. Right there, that can trigger a defensive reaction. And without being aware of it, that feeling of frustration or impatience can leak into your voice, into your body language, and it can really damage the trust you're working so hard to build. So here's a really powerful tool you can use right in the heat of the moment: the pause. Let's say a client challenges your proposal. Your gut instinct, your first impulse, might be to get defensive. But right there, that's the crucial moment. Instead of just reacting, you recognize that feeling, you take a breath, and you just pause. That tiny little gap is where you take back control. It's where you shift from a knee-jerk reaction to a thoughtful, professional response.
All right, so once you've got a better handle on your own internal world, you can start to turn your focus outward. And this is where empathy comes into play, the skill of genuinely trying to understand what the client is going through.
I want you to burn this into your brain. When a client shows frustration, it is almost never a personal attack on you. Think of it more like a signal flare, showing you the intense pressures they are under. That corporate travel manager isn't just trying to be difficult. They're probably accountable to a CFO who's scrutinizing every single penny. Their urgency is just a reflection of their own responsibilities.
This right here is the critical mental shift you have to make. Your defensive brain immediately jumps to, they're just trying to lowball me. But your empathetic brain stops and asks, what kind of budget pressure are they dealing with back at their office? That one simple question can change the entire dynamic from a confrontation into a collaboration.
This leads to a really sophisticated skill. You see, acknowledging the client's concern shows them that you're listening, that you respect their position. You don't have to agree with their demand, but just saying something like, "I understand that the budget is a key concern for you," can completely diffuse the tension. It keeps the dialogue constructive. You're validating the emotion without giving away the farm.
So we've looked inward with self-awareness, and we've looked outward with empathy. The final piece of the puzzle is bringing it all together through control, which is really about maintaining your professional composure, especially when the negotiation starts to heat up.
Believe me, your composure speaks volumes. A calm, steady tone of voice, that signals confidence and reliability. When you take the time to explain your position clearly and patiently, you build trust. The client starts to see you not just as a salesperson, but as a stable, solution-focused partner they can actually count on.
So where does this composure even come from? One word:
Preparation. Stress usually comes from uncertainty, right? Well, when you've done your homework, when you know your objectives, your absolute bottom line limits, and your alternatives, you walk into that conversation with confidence. And that drastically reduces the chances of you feeling cornered and reacting emotionally.
So, why does all of this matter so much? Is it just about closing one deal? No way. It's because every single negotiation you have is a building block for something much, much bigger: your professional reputation. That's the long-term reward for consistently using emotional intelligence.
This is the absolute foundation of your professional legacy. Look, anybody can be pleasant when things are going easy. It's your ability to stay calm and focused on solutions when the pressure is on. That's what truly builds respect. Clients remember who they can rely on when things get difficult.
And that trust, it becomes the bridge that turns a one-time transaction into a long-term business relationship. It's the currency that transforms single deals into lasting partnerships.
And there it is. This is the ultimate payoff. Strong relationships built on a reputation for being calm, respectful, and always looking for a solution. That's what builds a successful, sustainable career in this industry. People will never forget how you made them feel during a tough negotiation.
At the end of the day, your reputation becomes your single most valuable asset. It's what makes clients want to work with you personally, not just your hotel, but you, because they trust you to be a fair, effective, and reliable partner, no matter what the circumstances are.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this question to think about. In your next negotiation, where are you going to focus your emotional energy? On the frustration of a tough demand? Or on understanding the pressure that's behind it? On reacting defensively, or on responding with professional composure? That choice is yours, and believe me, it will define your success. Thank you for your time.